Welcome back to the deep dive. Our mission today is pretty laser focused. We're going to give you a rapid, really actionable understanding of advanced persistent threats.
APTs.
Exactly, APTs. And we're doing it through the lens of some really specialized intelligence, threat visions, APT intelligence. We've gone through a whole stack of sources, reports, technical outlines, deep research, all to figure out what this is and why it matters.
And the context for why it matters is,
Yeah.
well, it's not negotiable right now. The urgency is all driven by geography.
You mean the Asia-Pacific region?
The Asia-Pacific region, yes. It has unfortunately become the most active battlefield in global cyber conflict. I mean, we're talking about statecraft, but executed through a keyboard.
And the sources give some pretty stark examples.
They do. Persistent intrusions into South Korea's energy sector, really targeted attacks on financial supply chains in Southeast Asia, and this, constant surveillance of Taiwan's high-tech industry. These aren't just random acts.
No, these are nation-backed groups running long-term operations. That's the key distinction, isn't it?
Yeah.
How do we quickly define an APT campaign for someone to separate it from just regular cybercrime?
Right. It's fundamentally different. APTs have, I'd say, three core characteristics.
Yeah.
Persistence, precision targeting, and constant evolution.
They don't just hit and run.
No. They establish a foothold, they hide, they adapt their tactics, techniques, and procedures.
Like TTPs.
Exactly, or TTPs. They adapt them to stay hidden for months, maybe even years. The impact is staggering. It's not just a data leak. It's economic espionage. It's political disruption.
Which really highlights the problem with the traditional defense, a reactive one. If the threat is designed to stay hidden and change, just reacting to a file hash is?
Yeah.
We're just playing catch-up.
You're always playing catch-up. And that brings us straight to the core problem that threat vision is really designed to solve.
The fragmentation of intelligence. Okay, let's unpack that, because I think a lot of security pros really feel this pain. They're just swimming in alerts and clues that don't connect.
Exactly. I mean, imagine a sophisticated operation that spans 6 months. It involves 5 different servers, a few custom malware strains, maybe 4 different phishing campaigns.
A huge, complex chain.
A huge chain. And if you only see one piece of that puzzle, a single IP address or one file hash, you're looking at a brittle indicator of compromise, an IOC.
And you block that one IOC.
And the adversary has already moved on. That fragmented view means you just can't see the full campaign. You don't see the attacker's true intent.
So the defender ends up patching a dozen holes without ever realizing that all those holes were drilled by the same person with one big goal in mind.
You're just treating the symptom, not the root cause. The whole philosophy here is that organizations have to connect those scattered indicators into meaningful context.
So you stop focusing on the tools and start focusing on the person using them.
Yes, on their TTPs, their methods, because that lets you see their patterns, their intent. And if you can see their intent, you can act early enough to stop the entire attack from escalating.
So if the IOC is like the license plate on the getaway car, the TTP is like noticing the driver always steals a certain model of car and only robs banks on Thursdays.
That is a perfect analogy. You block the license plate right now, that's the IOC. But the TTPs, the driver's habits, that's what helps you predict where they'll go next. And that's the foundation of this intelligence. It integrates all this deep research on APAC with attacker behaviors, TTPs, tools, and of course, the IOCs you need.
So it's an integrated view designed to anticipate, not just react.
That's the goal.
Which makes the structure of how this intelligence is delivered so important. The sources lay out a really clear 3-pillar system of reporting. It's a full spectrum approach.
And that's one of the biggest differentiators.
Yeah.
It gets that your operational teams have a completely different need for information than, say, your strategic leadership.
Okay, let's start with that immediate need, the fastest layer, the APT in Asia flash report.
This is pure immediate intelligence. It's exclusive Team T5 research, and it's built to be instantly actionable. Speed is everything here.
What's in it?
It dissects a single new APT incident. You get the full context, but more importantly, you get the IOCs that you can literally copy and paste right into your defensive systems.
And the frequency is intense. Published twice a week. That's at least 100 reports a year.
At least. It's designed so the SOC, the Security Operations Center, can deploy new rules before an incident becomes widespread.
Okay, so that's the immediate. Then we move to the middle layer, which is more about depth. The APT in Asia monthly report.
Right. And this is where we get strategic guidance for the midterm.
I thought the name here was interesting. It's a monthly report, but it comes out once a week for 12 reports a year.
Yeah, the name refers to its strategic focus. It guides your defenses for the coming month. but it delivers that fresh analysis every single week. The content is what elevates it.
It covers a lot more ground.
A lot more. Each issue covers between, say, 13 to 16 separate APT incidents. And it's not just IOCs. This is the deep dive on malware samples, infrastructure analysis. You get broad trend observations. This is the report that helps you build a defense strategy that's meant to last.
So flash is the alarm. Monthly is the detailed dissection. Which brings us to the heaviest pillar, the really strategic long view one, the APT campaign tracking report, the CTR.
The CTR is where attribution really starts to become possible, and it's the foundation for long-term strategic planning. It shifts the timescale from a week or a month to years.
Years.
Yeah, the analysis in the CPR can span 2 to 3 years of a specific adversary group's activity. It meticulously maps out how their TTPs evolve, what tools they prefer, how their targets change over time.
That sounds like an incredible research investment. But for an organization that's being repeatedly targeted by the same state actor, that would be invaluable.
It is. It lets them predict behavior, not just block signatures. And it's published twice a quarter.
And there's a special feature, right? A 6-month overview.
A very key feature. At the end of Q2 and Q4, there's a special overview that synthesizes all the major incidents, highlights the most affected industries, and charts the most common techniques seen across the board. That's a report that goes straight to the executive level.
That comprehensive structure, immediate, strategic, and then longitudinal, that's what makes this intelligence so usable by different teams. It's not just for one type of analyst.
Exactly. It moves beyond the idea that intelligence is just for, the security geeks. It addresses the needs of the entire defense structure.
Okay, let's break that down. Let's start with the operational teams. The SOC analysts, the incident response guys, they're in the trenches.
For them, it's all about speed and containment. They get the latest IOCs and TTPs from the flash reports. It's designed to be plug and play so they can update firewalls and detection rules in minutes, not hours.
Which cuts down dwell time.
Drastically.
Yeah.
Then you have your proactive teams, the threat hunters.
Right, they're not waiting for an alert. They're actively looking for trouble.
And they're all over the monthly reports. They're using that behavioral and technical analysis to hunt for patterns. Maybe it's a specific technique for lateral movement that Threat Vision has spotted, but that hasn't triggered their own security tools yet. That deep analysis tells them where to look next.
Okay, now let's go up the ladder. The strategic leaders, the CISOs. A CISO doesn't really care about a single file hash.
No, they care about answering one question. Where do I spend my limited budget next year to reduce the most risk?
And for them, the CTR is gold.
It is. That 2 to 3 year view on an adversary's tools and tactics. That's what allows them to prioritize defenses based on where their specific persistent attackers are investing their effort. It gives them the data to justify big investments to the board.
And finally, what about governance, compliance, and risk managers?
They need to connect the technical threat to business risk. They use the analysis that ties threat intelligence to the geopolitical context. They can look at state-backed activity in a certain region and tell the business, hey, because this APT group is hitting our providers in Southeast Asia, our compliance risk for Q3 just changed.
That is a true four-way delivery system. So to wrap this all up, let's talk about the core values that make this intelligence unique and, I think just as importantly, reliable.
These are the pillars that explain why you can trust it when the stakes are so high.
First up is that geographic focus.
The APAC-driven global perspective. They are specifically tracking Chinese, Russian, North Korean, and other cross-border operations. That focus gives their findings a weight and an accuracy that's hard to match.
The second point goes right back to what we started with, time to incident correlation.
This is how they beat fragmentation. They use that staggered reporting weekly, monthly, quarterly to actively connect what look like isolated incidents over time. They reconstruct entire campaigns, linking those brittle IOCs to the persistent TTPs. They connect the dots.
And third, practicality. Tools ready for deployment.
Because efficiency matters in a crisis. The IOCs and rules are designed to be directly plugged into standard security systems. It saves a massive amount of time, which can be the difference between catching an intrusion and a full-blown breach.
Finally, the bedrock of all of it. Expert-validated intelligence.
Reliability is everything. The accuracy comes from Team D5's own proprietary telemetry and their multi-layer validation process. You're not getting intelligence based on, public chatter. This is vetted.
So when you put the whole package together, the speed, the depth, the context, what's the ultimate outcome for an organization?
Resilience and strategic advantage. You're combining the immediate alerts the SOC needs with the deep context the CISO needs. You move from being reactive to being predictive. That's really the only sustainable way to stay secure in this kind of environment.
Speed, depth, and context. That really does sum it up. We started this dive talking about that hyperactive APAC, battlefield South Korea's energy sector, Southeast Asia's financial chains, Taiwan's high-tech industry.
And we mentioned that this CTR half-year overview is designed to synthesize all of that, to track the major incidents and new techniques.
Which brings up a really interesting question for you to think about. If that next half-year overview is being put together right now, which specific nation-backed APT group, or which recurring geopolitical tension from those regions we mentioned, which one do you think will dominate the discussion of new tactics and affected industries?
It's a tough question. Which one poses the most complex challenge for attribution and defense at this very moment?
Something to mull over. It forces you to think like an adversary and prioritize.
Exactly.
Indeed. Until the next deep dive, stay informed and stay secure.